it. Against the back wall of the grand foyer, facing the ceremonial staircase, silent auction tables displayed their wares. As be-bannered, be-rosetted, and be-plumed as the mistress of ceremonies, they flaunted on fine linens the wealth of a queen's treasure house. Basalt busts that bore the gravitas of deep antiquity, art jewelry from the museum collection, original paintings, travel vouchers, and baskets sporting rare vintages and costly cheeses sealed in red wax. Over all the tables presided a tall, youngish woman who bore little resemblance to the woman addressing the crowd, except perhaps in a certain stubbornness of jaw. She watched her mother with an expression borrowed from her father's face, boredom, a hint of disdain, barely disguised exasperation. But something else flickered in her black eyes, an admiration so fierce it danced on the barbed wire wall between resentment and worship. "How," asked a voice from behind her, "can it be an annual fundraiser if it's the first?" The woman twitched a bare shoulder the exact shade of the bronze silk taffeta she wore. "Shut up, Chaz." "I was only asking," Chaz replied, affable and wounded. "I am not speaking to you." "You are, though, Des," he argued. "You just said, 'I am never speaking to you again.'" Lifting her chin, but still not looking at him, Desdemona Mannering contradicted her dictum immediately. "You are 3 hours late, Charles Abelard Mallister. We had plans." Mrs. Tracy Mannering, Mission Advancement Director for the Factory Girls with Phossy Jaw Charity, mistress of this evening's ceremonies and Desdemona's mother, had personally assigned her daughter to oversee the silent auction tables that night. She had assumed that Desdemona would be delighted, so commanding, so inexorable, and manufactured of such titanium goodwill were Mrs. Mannering's assumptions, that when Desdemona received her invitation to the benefit, along with a full duty roster, she had little choice but to agree to work the tables. But if Desdemona knew one thing, it was this: if misery loves company, malice adores it. Aping her mother's style, she informed her best friend that he too would be dishing out auction items by the silver platterful at her mother's Phossy Gal's Follies, as she put it. What's more, she'd added with a burst of inspiration, he would be doing it en travesti, in a gown of his choice. It would not be the first time Chaz had attended an event costumed like a woman. He occasionally wore gowns out to nightclubs, quite often to private parties, and always whenever spending an evening alone with Desdemona. But so far, he had never worn one of his gowns to any function coordinated by the hoity-toity aunties of high society. Whether this was out of shyness or dread, Desdemona could not tell, and had never asked. But she thought it high time Chaz outshone them at their own game. When he'd protested, she'd simply scoffed. Those clucks, she'd said, wouldn't care if Chaz showed up in the scud and suspended by his piercings from the chandelier, so long as he helped generate funds for their precious cause. This, therefore, was her dare. They would each dress in a bespoke gown by their favorite couture designer, Desdemona's by Hernanda, Chaz's by Manu Lirhue. At the auction tables, they would give bidders a chance to vote on whose ensemble was the more spectacular. The loser would donate the worth of their gown to the Factory Girls with Phossy Jaw Charity. The winner would buy the loser a drink of their choice the moment they were emancipated from their offices. Reluctantly, Chaz had agreed, but he soon grew enthusiastic. For months now, they had been planning their gowns, meeting in secret with their designers, and obsessing over minutiae, each boasting how entirely they would cast the other under their glittering shadow. And then, after all that, Chaz had not materialized. Not till now, anyway, when Desdemona's duties were all but done. An awful night it had been, too. She had thought she would be bored. Instead, Desdemona felt scraped raw, with a headache behind her eyes and at the back of her neck. Her mother was a loudmouth, a scab-ripper, a visionary. Tracy Mannering did not care to wrap fine lace around decay.